Live from the Carl Chevrolet Studios in West Des Moines, this is Iowa Live.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. You can see exactly where we are. You can see the special bag here. That must mean we are talking to the Food Bank of Iowa. Annette Hacker, how are you?
I am wonderful. Great to be here, Lou.
The Food Bank of Iowa, one of the greatest organizations here in central Iowa and actually across the entire state to help so many people. Tell everybody a little bit about the Food Bank of Iowa.
Well, Food Bank of Iowa, we find the food, we keep it safe, and we distribute it to 700 partners across the 55 counties we serve here in Iowa.
700 different partners. And by partners, you mean the people that distribute the food in their own community.
Right, pantries, meal sites, school pantries.
That's a big one, isn't it?
There are
Yeah.
partners on the ground handing the food directly to Iowans facing hunger.
Yeah, but it all starts at the Food Bank of Iowa, folks. They are the center that receives everything, and then it goes out from there. It is such a great organization. But let's talk about the need in Iowa. And this might surprise you. Of course, you do realize Iowa is the center of the food source here in the United States. But the need for food in Iowa, it's staggering, isn't it?
It is staggering, and it hasn't gotten any better. We're
Really?
going on, come April, it'll be 3 years of record need for food assistance here in Iowa. 345,000 Iowans don't know where they'll get their next meal.
Yeah, take a look at the screen we have here. Those highlighted areas, talk about those.
So 11% of Iowans need help with food, and 11% of Iowans live in poverty. This is not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Poverty and the need for food assistance go hand in hand. Until we solve poverty, we will not solve hunger.
Now let's wrap our heads around this just a little bit, okay? You said 11%. So if you're at work or if you're going to school, look around and count 10 people. Of those 10 people, at least one of those may be having some issues when it comes to food security.
Absolutely. It affects our neighbors, our friends, our family, and people simply don't realize.
Yeah, it really is a problem that should not exist. At least it should not exist here in the breadbasket of
That's
the
right.
United States of America. But you're doing something about it. The Food Bank of Iowa is such an amazing organization. You do so many great things. You get so much food to people that really need it.
Well, it's thanks to our donors and people who believe in our mission of relieving hunger here in Iowa.
Right. And when it comes to the items that are the most sought after at the food banks and the pantries and the schools and things like that that you help provide, what are some of the ones that really are the most sought after?
Well, right now we could use more eggs, but luckily we got a great donation last week of 84,000 pounds of pre-cooked eggs from Michael Foods.
Really?
That was wonderful to receive. We also still do have shell eggs, fresh eggs, but not as many as we would like. Because just like everybody else at the grocery store, they're high right now. Even when we buy in huge bulk, they're high. We rely on egg producers here in Iowa to donate those fresh eggs, and we're grateful for those too.
Yeah, and we have one of the largest areas that produces eggs here in the state of Iowa, so we really feel that impact when the different things affect the prices of eggs. And that happens to everybody. That affects everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah. And other items we need at the food bank. Protein, we always need meat, peanut butter, canned soups, vegetables, fruit in light syrup versus heavy syrup, things like that.
Okay, now let's talk about food in general here and about the waste that goes on, because you and I were talking before the cameras turned on about the amount of food that is wasted. And if you're watching this show or you're doing this show, you're probably guilty of wasting some food. Believe it or not, that is the fact of the matter, right?
All of us are guilty.
All of us
Up to 40% of the U.S. food supply is wasted every year. In many cases, there's enough food. It's just not getting to the right people. So a big part of what we do at Food Bank of Iowa is to rescue food, work with manufacturers and retailers and accept things that are a surplus, or so they've got too much, or maybe it's a food item that didn't quite meet standards, a pasta noodle that's a little too short, a batch of cottage cheese that's fresh and good, but maybe there wasn't enough salt in it, that batch. So will we take it? Absolutely, because you can sprinkle a little salt on that, and it's great. So of the 27.3 million pounds of food we distributed last year, more than 8 million of that was rescued.
Really?
And wholesome food that got to people who needed it instead of going to the landfill.
That's almost a third of the food that you had. Yeah.
Right, right.
That is amazing. Now, look at this. This just tells you the impact of what is going on when it comes to food. There's the programs. You talked about the partners and the points of service. That is mind-boggling, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
That's, everybody who visited a pantry, everybody who had a meal at a meal site, everybody who was able to pick up food for their family at their school pantry.
Okay.
Everything.
All right, now let's talk about some of the food that might come in and maybe some of the food that you have in your pantry, because a lot of times people will go through and they'll clean out their pantries and they'll discard the food when there's absolutely no reason for this. And let's explain what that means.
Well, we're all wasting food. We probably shouldn't be, because really there are no expiration dates in this country except for baby formula and baby food.
Okay.
Everything else is either a best by date or a sell by date. And those speak to, sell by is how long the retailer should display the product. Best by is this food is going to be at its optimal quality if consumed before that date.
And optimal quality meaning a taste, but not,
Taste and nutrition.
And nutrition, okay.
But many foods are good for months, if not years, beyond
See that?
the date.
That's something to really keep in mind. Maybe you have a pasta that has a best by or a use by date.
Right.
It goes beyond that.
Right. These are all items out of my cupboard at home. Okay. This pasta has a best if used by date of February 2027.
Okay.
Does that mean that on February 1st, 2027, it's instantly not good anymore? No. It's good at least a year past that.
Okay.
Green beans. They're good at least 3 years past the best by date. This pie filling, about a year. Dried beans. Dried beans really are good along with raw rice. If stored properly, if unopened, if kept in a cool, dark place, indefinitely.
Okay.
Now, they may start to lose some nutrition. Beans might get a little tougher to cook, but it's perfectly good, wholesome food. It's safe to eat.
So don't throw it away.
Don't throw it away.
Yeah.
Again, this is if it's been stored properly, unopened, cool, dark place, and use your senses to know if you open up something, your eyes, your sniffer, and to know if there's any question. Of course, throw it out. But we're all wasting perfectly good food.
Okay.
Your fresh produce. Who among us hasn't been a little too aspirational
Right.
about how much produce we can consume? If that's ready to, if you think, oh, I should use that up and I won't be able to eat that, chop it up, put it in a freezer bag.
Freeze it. There you go.
You're ahead on your next soup or stew.
That's awesome. The work you do is awesome. If people want to get more information, how they can help the Food Bank of Iowa, how can they go about doing so?
Go to foodbankiowa.org.
All right. It doesn't get much simpler than that. Foodbankiowa.org, and you can help them out. Thank you, Annette, for everything that you do.
Thank you, Lou.
All
It's
right.
always a delight to be with you.
Always a delight. And it was a delight being with you today on this special edition of Iowa Live. Now go on out, everybody, and have yourself a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.